So, good morning, friends, and welcome to this Leadership Development Program session today, which is usually hosted by All India Ophthalmological Society Academic and Research Committee. And today we have the privilege of hosting it in association with Indian Naval Academy. I'm extremely thankful to Indian Naval Academy for associating with us and training our young leaders who are going to be the potential tomorrow of our country. So the theme which we thought for this today's program for this young blood was being proud Indian. So what does proud Indian mean? It is it's a saying which says don't just be a proud of being an Indian. Rather do something that makes India proud of you. Well, we are born in an era where we are not fortunate like Bal Gangadhar Tilak or Chandrasekhar Azad. Well, in those era, pre-independence era, he said, Swaraj is my birthright and I shall have it, and they fought and they bled and they died for this. Similarly, Chandrasekhar Azad said, दुश्मनों की गोलियों का हम सामना करेंगे, आज़ाद ही रहे हैं और आज़ाद ही रहेंगे. And same thing Mahatma Gandhi also said in a different way, freedom is never dear at any price. It is the breath of life. What would a man not pay for living? And the famous slogan from Subhash Chandra Bose ji, give me blood and I will give you freedom. And this all inspired, and these people led their lives for the freedom and independence which we today are proud of and living freely and breathing freely. So, what does patriotism in today's context mean? Yes, of course, we are all young and our blood is boiling to do something for our country. सरफरोशी की तमन्ना अब हमारे दिल में है, देखना है जोर कितना बाजुए कातिल में है. आज हमें भी लगता है, आज हमें हर बच्चे को आज भी ये भावना है कि हम हमारे देश के लिए कुछ करें. बट डज पैट्रियोटिज्म मीन्स sporting a tattoo or just shouting on the street jai ho jai ho? No, it is not just a short term frenzied burst of emotions, but it is the long and steady dedication of a lifetime. It also says that just do your duty every day and you will be a patriot, and that is the truth about patriotism in today's context. Sardarji Vallabhbhai Patelji said, every citizen of India must remember that he is an Indian and he has every right in this country, but of course with certain duties. So doing your own duty in itself is serving your country. But the problem is, most of us, most of the younger generation or even our generation said, Arey, ye nahi hai, what has country given me? But don't ask what country has given you, but what have you given to the country. Look at it, how beautifully Gangadhar Tilak has put it. The problem is not the lack of resources or capability, it is the lack of will for us to serve our own country. And so, look at this, how Lal Bahadur Shastri ji said. He says that it is like a mother, my country is like a mother, and she has given me the environment that responds to the highest aspirations. Even in that era, and today we are blessed to be born in this era where we have all the sites of facilities. Of course, we have some dearth of facilities, but yes, it is our duty to uplift our country. So, friends, each one of you can, in a gentle way, shake the world and make this world as well as your country a better place to live. And as well, Mahatma Gandhi said, the welfare of the people is the way to serve your country. Put it in a different way, work done in the spirit of service is the highest form of worship, or call it patriotism. And no work is a disgrace. The disgrace is idleness or running away and finding excuses for not serving or not doing your work. And that is what we should understand. And best way is to serve in the way whatever role you have been attributed to. Now, what are the smaller ways to serve your country? Respecting a female colleague, respecting a female in your family, in your society, women empowerment in a way is itself a way to be a patriot. You as a doctor today, you have the science in your hand. It's one of the fastest and one of the strongest tool which you have in your country, which you have in your hands. So use it in a right way. You are blessed to be a scientific man. Use it for research, use it for serving the community, and that is what is called true patriotism. So, friends, if you want to see the change in the world, you have to be the reason for the change in the world. And that is the way to be a true Indian. So with this word, I would request for this particular session, Chairperson Dr. Harbansh Lal sir, as well as I will invite our Dr. Lalit Verma sir to be co-chairperson along with Dr. Harbansh Lal sir. Please, sir, aa jaiye, please. It's a privilege to have you with us, sir. We also have moderator, we were missing them, and panelist, my all ARC member, Dr. Tinku Bali, Dr. Kasturi, Dr. Anagha, Srinivas Joshi, and Deepak. Please join us on the front row. We have a small hall, so we have to do with this particular sitting arrangement. And this is in short the program for us. I have introduced the program. So we will begin the session from a small talk from our President, All India Ophthalmological Society, Dr. Harbansh Lal, who is going to tell us simple good behavior, thy name is patriotism. Means your behavior can also be a form of doing service to your country. With this word, without much ado, I will invite President AIOS, Dr. Harbansh Lal sir, to deliver his talk on good behavior. Bye. Sir, can I invite Dr. Usha, please, to be on the chair, please. She is the Lieutenant Commodore at Indian Naval Academy, Ezimala, and today's program is being done in association with the Indian Naval Academy. Please, ma'am.
And good morning, friends. I'll just go in a maybe in a reverse order, you can say it, that what has been my experience while I've been traveling various parts of the world. So if you see that, when I came from Lucknow to Delhi, actually I had a cultural shock. I could not believe the way people in Delhi behave. Because in Lucknow, everybody was very polite, very humble. If the rickshaw puller, you tell him he asked for 2 rupees, you ask him to charge 1.5, he'll say, aapka diya khate hain, aapki jo marzi ho aap de do. So that was the culture. Over here, my juniors even won't vacate the chair if they are sitting over there. And the way the patient used to behave was entirely rude. एक patient बैठा हुआ है, उसकी मम्मी बैठी हुई हैं. मम्मी से कहता है जी सारा समझा दिया, 5-7 मिनट हो गए. कहता है डॉक्टर साहब का सर खाना हो तो 5 मिनट और खा लो, घर जाके मेरा सर मत खाना. So that was the this western part of, you can say, Haryana, western UP and Delhi culture. So I had a really culture shock and never liked Delhi and never wanted to settle down there. So I went to the New Zealand recently with a long group. I've never heard any honking in my 21 days trip. In my bus, there was somebody parked wrongly. He kept on waiting till he came, never even once shouted or honked over here. Over here, you just can't open your window if you are driving in Delhi or any part of the country for that matter. I went to the Thailand. I started the IDOS, International DOS Conference, and senior Dr. Boppa Rai, 75 years old with his wife, was standing over there. And for taking a boat ride, people really pushed them and tried to go inside. When I was standing in a queue for the parasailing, some boy comes over there कि आप तो president हैं, आप आगे आ जाइए. मैंने कहा नहीं, I'm fine over here. Then he goes, does a parasailing, comes and tells me, आप तो सब president होकर भी line में खड़े हैं, मैं तो करके आ गया. Then the Thai girl said कि whenever we ask any other country people to stand in a queue, they stand like this. It is the Indian who stand like this. So all of them try to jump into the bus, try to take the front seat, window seat. And the hotel we stayed, because it was a large group, they gave us the accommodation. They said, we don't give rooms to the Indians. So that was the situation. That is the way we behave. Went to Sri Lanka. The 5-star hotel guy says कि यहाँ पे Indians आते हैं pressure cooker में खिचड़ी बना के खाते हैं. So that is the behavior is very, very derogatory, and you actually spoil the image of the country. You went to the USA, the tipping is over there as a norm. You had taken a package for the Alaska trip for 5 lakhs rupees, but you are not willing to spend 50,000 on tips over there. So make your Indian proud. If they expect 10%, you pay them 15%. Consider it is a part of a package. So don't go to any country and you think, yeah, I'm not going to come over here again. But it is, there are many Indians who will be following over there. So please, whether it is a financial drain on you, but you should not degrade your country whenever you go abroad. So if there is a norm to pay the tip, you must pay over there. On the other, I went to Switzerland. I was with my wife standing with a big suitcase. The guy saw it over there. He lifted the suitcase and put it onto the train. Wherever I had gone to the Switzerland, people were so nice. They will lift and put the bag down because they're a little hefty. They saw the suitcase is very heavy and they will do it. I went to the Australia. My wife wanted some power charger from the reception, and the lady said, it's not available. I'll give you at 5. My wife called. She was very rude. And my wife complained. Of course, their manager called and apologized for that. So they were a little rude at many places over there. I went to the Italy. Probably they had a complex with the brown complexion. We had. So we went for the breakfast. The tall, handsome, 6'3" guy, he was probably feeling very ashamed of serving us. But ultimately, so they asked us to wait. We were doing yoga outside. And then he called some more Goras inside. I really went and blasted them right, left, and center. We came over here earlier. It was your duty to come and ask us for the first right to sit over here. So some of them places may be good and bad, but they also carry, even in the Italy, we went for the dinner. The very hefty guy sitting over there. And they put on some 10 euro for the cover charge. So what is the cover charges? They said the brown paper they put onto the table, that we call as a cover charges. This small piece of paper. So then that means I do not have a very good memory of the Italians that way. They are very, very rude and they don't know how to behave. I went to Japan in 1987. They never knew the language, but they were so courteous. So ask them where is the toilet, they will take you and drop you over there and will come back. They know you are not going to buy over there in their shop, but they will, with happiness, they will show you every product and will drop you to the gate when you are going out. When I came from there to the Hong Kong, Chinese were the rudest people. They knew English in the Hong Kong, but they will never help you and never guide you. So I got a very bad concept of how the Chinese behave and how the Hong Kong people behave. If we want the world to respect India and Indian, we need to behave. I really feel very sad and bad when you go somewhere and you create an image that when the next of your Indian goes over there, they are looked upon. I mean, so this is not the way we should conduct ourselves wherever we are traveling. But of course, we should be strong enough to give it back to them if required. Don't take it lying down, whosoever he may be. They can't harm you. So when I was coming from the Alaska, my flight was delayed. She said, we are booked for the next flight, but she actually didn't do it. I went and shouted. I said, I want my boarding pass now. No, I want boarding. I will not leave the counter. So if it is your right, and if you feel that you have got to fight it, whatever part of the world you are, you must fight for your right. If you feel that they are taking for you for a right, please don't surrender. But at the same time, you must behave well according to the norms of that country. Like you go to the Thailand, you pick up a dress and try it. That's not on over there. If you are going to try out their dress, you must ask them, can I try this dress? And one should behave well with everyone, irrespective of his social, financial, or educational status. There should be respect for him being human, irrespective of whether he is a beggar, whether he is begging from you. आपको किसी को गाली देने का, बदतमीजी करने का, चाहे आपका नौकर हो, सफाई करता हो, कुछ भी करता हो, you got no right to be indecent to any person on this earth. So irrespective of his social status, you must respect him. And many of my friends who were my juniors, in fact, PGs, those who have gone abroad and when they wanted to come back and settle down in India, not that because of the money, but once they get used to the environment over there, they find it, the culture on the road, for the electricity, for the water, and the bribing, this becomes very disgusting for them and they are not able to tolerate. So we have got to get over all those bad behaviors which we keep on doing and don't worry about it. And tourism is a big industry. So we need to look into it that whosoever comes to India, and even I see some of the clinics in the doctors, whenever they see the foreign patient, they increase the price. That is not on. We should charge what we charge from the Indian. So tourism is a big industry. They should have very good memories of the place when they go back and send them over here. So next generation, if we want them to love and stay and feel proud of our culture, we need to be here. Because our coming generation, and believe me, I'm lucky that my daughter stays in India. But if you go and see, I went to one of the big man chairman, Sir Gangaram Hospital. He did some favor to me on a Diwali day to his house. घर में पूरा सन्नाटा, ऐसा लगता था जैसे कब्रिस्तान में आ गए, क्योंकि बच्चे सब बाहर सेटल हैं. नर्सिंग होम वाले दिन भी, दिवाली वाले दिन सब लोग चले गए हैं. देयर इज नो बडी, देयर इज नो लाइटिंग, नथिंग टू डू विद इट. So if you want your coming generation to love your country, stay with you, you want to have happy memories, then we need to improve the environment and the social behavior of the people so that they love their country, they respect their country, and all of us have a duty to improve upon ourselves. Thank you very much.
Thank you, President Sir, for wonderfully enlightening the importance of how you behave and how you can be patriot. If you behave well, leave back a good memories, naturally the people when you travel abroad will respect your country, your culture, and they would love to visit you and learn. In fact, we can see a lot of people coming to our country for various religious and philosophy, various gurus and all. So you need to complement it and make your India proud of you. Now I request immediate past president Dr. Lalit Verma sir, who will be talking about, he has represented All India Ophthalmological Society from at various cadres right from their scientific 24 years. So he will be telling you how if you serve your organization, you are indirectly serving or directly serving your country, and that is patriotism. So over to you, Lalit Verma sir.
Thank you, Prashant, for conceiving this out of ophthalmology idea. Because for last 2 days we have been talking about endophthalmitis or diabetes, but this talk is out of the world. चल नहीं रहा आगे आगे करो स्लाइड शिफ्ट कैसे करो शिफ्ट करना है ना क्या हुआ अभी तो चल रहा है ये क्या कर रहा है द कनेक्टर एट ऑल अभी तो मैंने
So meanwhile, can Dr.
ये
Deepak,
चल
Dr.
नहीं रहा
Tinku
है
add
चलना
upon to
बनता
some part
चलना
about
बनता
behavioral things, what how the young children, and it makes a difference to our country. Can we have a floating mic?
बंद नहीं हो रहा ना
Mic, floating mic.
ये डुप्लीकेट तुमने क्या किया इसको
Hello. So sir has very well elicited the importance of simple good behavior, how it can.
अरे यार
Yeah.
डुप्लीकेट तो
So I think it's our own behavior that our kids also emulate. So like sir said, we shouldn't be rude to anyone. If you are rude, your children are also going to pick up the same behavior. So you have to be watchful how you behave in front of your children. To learn, and you can't give them a separate set of rules and you yourself follow another rule. So like you tell them jhoot nahi bolo, but then you say these little white lies at the drop of a hat, and
अब
children
हैंग
are so
किसको
quick
करना
to
है ये
pick
तो
up
देखना
कि
पड़ेगा
children are so quick to pick up कि mama आपने भी तो उस दिन झूठ बोला था, आपने फ़ोन पे नहीं आया और बोला कि मैं घर पे नहीं हूँ, so why can't I set a very good example with those same values? I think that's what I would say.
Thank
Be
you,
watchful of your behavior.
Okay. Sir is ready
Sir,
now.
no. You see, Tinku has said a very right thing, but 5 fingers are not equal. Harbans said about all the countries on the earth, but all fingers are not equal. Italians, whatever. You can't. I don't think so. You can teach anybody. But what I derive inspiration is करत करत अभ्यास बार बार अगर WhatsApp सुबह सुबह आता है ना तो चल भाई I will improve today. But I don't think so. You can teach Chinese or Italians. First, you have to So you look into the mirror, मैं क्या हूँ? Like Prashant was saying a very very good dialogue that you have to lead from the front. तुम अपना कर्तव्य करो, बाकी people will follow you. That is most important, I think. हाँ, yeah, बच्चे. So this particular webinar or this talk is primarily what he has labeled is become a proud Indian. So I was very, when I joined AIOS nearly 7 years back, so AIOS was in infancy, hardly anything being done in a structured way, or everything was extempore, random. So we thought that if we have to do AIOS proud, then only we can move forward. So Prashant told me to speak about the topic that how serving a society, that how I have served my AIOS, so that today with a lot of conviction I can say that AIOS today is standing here because of this long journey. So indirectly you are serving your country. You are serving 26,000 members, so you are serving your country. You obviously can't, there are various, AIOS is the largest society on the earth, and every time whenever we meet in general body, people will say, you see, we are the largest society of life members. But if you compare with the largest society, that is American Academy, they have a staff of 165 people in San Francisco. And I was given only staff of 3 people and 4 chairs. That was how I started my journey in AIOS. So you can imagine now, a lot of youngsters may not realize that, you see, with 6 square meter of office, today we have 10,000 square meter of building. So it requires, because it always used to hit me directly that we are the largest, we are the largest. My bloody left toe, largest का क्या फायदा? 4 chair, 3 chair ही तो है हमारे पास. That's all. So we were supposed to function equivalent to America. So we have so many life members, but our objectives are very good. That we have to promote science, promote ophthalmology, and we have various wings to help us. Although now it is the most populous country, but in terms of blindness we are leading everywhere. Diabetic blindness number 1, total blindness number 1. Not a very proud statement with so many people at the helm of affairs. Eye donations, even Sri Lanka has more eye donations than we. It shames us actually. So we are emotionally concerned, like diabetic blindness. So there are various ways. Each individual has to pitch in. I like the Prashant statement when he said, "Aap apna karo, people will lead." Like you said, parents have to become the role model. The children will catch whatever. If you are doing it, they will also do it. So you have to, there are people, bureaucracy and defense. They are all doing their own job. But we as ophthalmologists have to realize, if God has given me this position of say secretary or treasurer or president or whatever, am I doing justice to serve the society and indirectly helping the nation? This is what I thought. So we as a society, at that time structured this society that we will have a structured way of doing it. I remember when Harbanslal was with me, we made a structured kind of trade map, that this is the way trade has to function. This is the way halls will function. And importance being given to all the aspects, not only scientific, administrative, trade. There are 3-4 wings of organizing. So we converted this 12 square meter of office into a huge building. So this I thought, because if you don't have a building, you can't perform. You have to have a home from where you can deliver everything. So we started organizing a lot of things about public awareness. And this, I remember when we were in Delhi, we organized all this, public awareness campaigns. So this may look like a very small thing, but organizing and serving your members, serving the public is not so easy. So this was with the help of VRSI as well as SARC Academy that we organized the diabetic awareness, which is on November actually. This year also we are planning. Then even VRSI, I remember when Prashant organized this wonderful VRSI in Nagpur. This he arranged this, one of the most well organized run. Aim is not to run. Run is a but aim is to create public awareness. Why are these doctors making? I remember early morning 6 o'clock when we reached at this Maidan, and it was vibrations. And you can see director himself leading from the front, and 1 kilometer, 3 kilometer, 5 kilometer walks were arranged. And diabetic blindness, because diabetes is a silent disease, people don't come, they go blind. And and very few people you will see that they come early, and we can save them. So we prepared educational videos which we show in all the conferences. This is a very emotional, light. So I think everybody should show this video to everybody. This lady is now blind. Your daughter. So she has gone blind from seeing because of you know not being. She needs support.
Your vision and cause blindness. Regular checkups, even if your vision is normal, can save vision loss caused by diabetic retinopathy. Check yearly, see clearly.
So the purpose of showing this was that when God has given you a position, do something for society. Indirectly, you are helping the nation. Whether it is organizing webinars, conferences, public awareness weeks, corneal donation weeks, so many things. World Sight Day we celebrate. Then glaucoma weeks. Through society, we do eye donation fortnight, walk for vision, run for vision, diabetic awareness, and also you see attention should be paid to frequent, because the public is tuned to FM and radio talks, TV programs. This also should be, some budget should be kept for these things also. Public lectures, I remember we started in RP Center, and this was the audience at that time. Trauma was a very important thing which required attention. So we met with the ministry, and this AIOS iGates Foundation was established with the help of Ocular Trauma Society of India, and with the help of the ministry, this circular was issued. So you have to keep doing your bit so as to prevent a lot of sufferings. And trade also is a very important component of AIOS meetings, and without trade, believe me, nothing happens. So therefore, until and unless trade is there, we can't do all these big conferences. And apart from these theoretical lectures and all, we started more than a decade back practical lab facilities with the help of Deepak Mishra was sitting here. Then a lot of people helped in this. So higher participation of wings, and now we are planning to society moving international. Also, FICO is a very good program which we started, and so what I am trying to tell you is, you do all this once you are in a position, and so much more. Keep working for the society, not for self. Means you are working for members, 26,000 members get updated, learning, and I'm sure they implement a lot of things. And this way, all members contribute in whatever way they can towards causes of blindness. We started with so many causes of blindness, so that is the whole purpose of serving your society. And believe me, this is tremendous. This ultimately helps the entire nation. And if you calculate the economic impact of this, so much it has impact on productivity and ultimately family and nation also. So this is the way I thought, how working for society. You see, in 40 years of my career, 20 years I spent in RP Center and 20 years at Center for Sight, and 27 years at AIOS. So whatever best we could, you see, we have made AIOS proud, and I thank Prashant for taking this initiative along with the Indian Naval Academy of making us all proud Indian. And not only that, I am a very proud AIOS member today, because I have done my bit, and I know subsequently a lot of people, this evokes a feeling that I am a proud Indian too. And at the end of the day, I am happy and satisfied, and because I got this opportunity, and I'm sure the successive officers, young people with so much of energy, will do better, much better. And they should, because they should contribute to society, they should contribute to AIOS, and indirectly contribute to the nation also. Thank you, Prashant.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. See, so the young people look at young leaders. Remember, he has brought this society, All India Ophthalmological Society, from 3 chairs to a 15,000 square feet building, which is about 6 storied if you visited Delhi. So serving the organization, taking the one of the most populous ophthalmological societies visiting us, and a vision by 2030 we should be taking on head on with American Academy and have even the American Academy delegates coming over to us. So this is how you can make your country proud by serving a very strong and bigger organization. So now I request Lieutenant Commander Dr. Usha D, who is representing Indian Naval Academy, to speak about my journey of national services in Indian Navy. Please, ma'am. Till then, some comments from Srinivas Joshi. You are serving Karnataka Ophthalmological Society as a secretary, as a chair scientific. What do you think? How are you contributing to the patriotism? Don't you look at it in that way? How do you look at it?
Thank you, sir, for this interesting question. Definitely, I think it's the seniors, the elders have brought this to one of the platform. So there was one question which was asked to me by one of the Times of India editor in one of the function where it was a personality building class when I was in 10th standard. And locally they asked me, don't you feel that your father, your son of your father being under his shadow, so how do you feel? So then a few of the people said that no, I want to start from a scratch and I want to start everything independently. I don't want to use my father's influence. So the same thing depicts me here is because all of you have brought this society to up a certain stage. I think it's now the job of the youngsters to take it more higher. Rather than starting again from the scratch, starting again my new practice or starting again the new society and all those things, it has taken so many years to come up to this stage. It should be always like a launching pad. So always the launching pad has been set by all the seniors here, and then now it is just take off from that to the different level. So I keep motivating all the youngsters to join the society, to take the leadership role, because every society needs some fresh mind, fresh blood and new ideas, innovative ideas. And I always keep prompting them, and if you see the ARC programs which we are conducting now, we are all bringing in new faces. People who didn't get a podium chance, we are trying to give them the podium chance. Because now people have money, they can travel. You call them to Jammu Kashmir, they will come. If you call to Kanyakumari, they will come. But what they need after a certain point of time is the recognition. What they need is what they are doing, to showcasing what they are doing, so that it acts like a kind of incentive for them to do more and more job. So I think this was the few words which I wanted to say. Thank you.
Thank you. So Dr. Usha is ready.
Yes,
Please.
sir. Thank you, sir. Good morning, everyone. I am myself Sir Lieutenant Commander Usha D, representing on behalf of Indian Naval Academy, Ezimala. I am classified specialist in ophthalmology, and I want to thank specifically Dr. Prashant Bavankule sir for sending a special invite to Indian Naval Academy for delivering a speech about being Indian. So my presentation is out of the way, nothing related to opthal, but still, as a women officer, how I've introduced myself and how I've grown up. That is the history I'm going to give about. So, moving on to my topic. So this will be the scope of my presentation. I'll be covering my lecture on these headings like key aspects of what is to be an Indian, and brief about Indian Navy, and what are the roles obtained by Indian Navy, what are the facilities and opportunities available, and my journey in the Indian Navy, followed by a short film. So what is to be an Indian? So being Indian is a multifaceted approach. Each have to embrace themselves. We each have to know, because India is a culturally rich country having various different languages, religions, traditions, cultures. So we need to embrace them. So I'm here to highlight a few very important aspects of being Indian, what all is required. So it starts from embracing diversity, resilience and adaptability, innovators and entrepreneurships, power of education, social responsibility, gender equality, unity and patriotism, and nothing but dreams and aspirations. So each and every point which I mentioned here has an impact over being Indian. And what has being Indian, what can we do for the nation's development? So starting with embracing diversity, as I've already mentioned, India is a rich cultural heritage, having so many different languages, cultures and traditions. So being Indian, we need to appreciate and celebrate this diversity in order to encourage the individuals to build a spirit of unity, and to encourage them for the tolerance and to learn from each other's differences. And what about resilience? So way back about with the history. So we'll be aware that Indians are well known for their resilience and adaptability, as evident from the stories of our freedom fighters and entrepreneurships who defied their odds. So resilience is nothing but the spirits of never giving up and enduring and evolving through adversity. So our nation's development doesn't end without innovation. So innovation and entrepreneurship is again a backbone for any nation's development. And coming to power of education, education is a kind of transformative force which changes or equips an individual to inculcate more skills, critical thinking abilities, giving them chances to take critical decisions and to pursue their goals with determination. It also acts as a way to bridge a gap between economic and social gaps. And coming to social responsibility, each and every citizen should be socially responsible. They need to commit themselves. They need to engage in community development programs in order like to improve the infrastructure. It can be healthcare facilities or general living infrastructures, such kind of thing. And we need to inculcate more, take up responsibilities during voting systems also. Coming to gender equality, this is a recently developing one. As per Government of India, has started so many initiatives and given so many opportunities for the women to join and empower themselves and to showcase whatever thoughts or opinions they have in the public forum. Dreams and aspirations. So our dreams and aspirations plays a very important role. We should never underestimate our dreams. So coming to patriotism, this is the first and foremost thing which everyone will be having in developing our nation. So now moving on to my topic per se, Indian Navy. So as mentioned here, Indian Navy is always combat ready, credible, cohesive and future proof. So Indian Navy is the maritime branch of the Indian Armed Forces, and the President of India is the Supreme Commander of Indian Navy, which is commanded by Chief of Naval Staff, 4-star Admiral. So the primary goal of Indian Navy is to safeguard the Indian maritime border. So as we could see in this slide, India's 70% of our Earth's atmosphere is surrounded by water. So out of which India is covered on all 3 sides by the water. And we give cover to the islands also. There are 1197 islands and islets which Indian Navy takes care of it. Coming to the roles of, coming to the history of Indian Navy, I'll give you just a brief about Indian Navy. So it starts from very old, like 3000 BC ahead, which is evident from the seafaring activities and trading activities which were happened during those days only. So from that time onwards, Indian Navy has its existence, has evident from the sculptures of Harappa and Mohenjo-daro. And during the British colonial era, the Royal Indian Navy came into existence at around 17th century, and it showed primary interest for the establishment of the British Empire in our Indian Ocean. But post-independence, there is a tremendous change. The Royal Indian Navy has been transformed into the present Indian Navy with so much of significant modernization and expansion. So the present Indian Navy has grown in such an extent that it has Indianized everything, whatever it has developed, and it has indigenously developed. As we could see in the picture, we have indigenously developed our first aircraft carrier, INS Vikrant. This is again a greater achievement. And why I have put these are the national ensigns. So this, according to the era, we could see the first ensign is the British era ensign, followed by which post-independence our Indian Navy has come into existence, and the British flag has been replaced by our Indian flag and Ashoka with the Ashoka emblem. And this, as per requisition from our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, the naval ensign has got been Indianized, more Indianized. So removing the central cross, which is meant to be St. George's Cross, which is the British era, that has been removed and replaced with the navy blue golden octagon, as we could see here. So these are all major Indianization and Indianization of our Indian Navy. Coming to the roles, um the Indian Navy plays many roles starting from long-standing like full-time firefighting or full-time war fighting at one end to humanitarian and relief assistance in the other end. So for the sake of understanding, the roles has been divided into distinct roles like military, diplomatic, constabulary and benign roles, each having a separate approach for the development of the nation. So coming to the military role, the primary role of Indian Navy is to safeguard India's maritime trade as well as the maritime borders. It will act both as an offensive as well as defensive forces, not every time war, but also a defensive force. Um, Coming to diplomatic role, it also acts diplomacy. It also builds diplomacy in creating a friendly relationship with the foreign nations in order to promote regional and global stability. Constabulary role come into existence only when there is a crime happening in the maritime borders. So it gives protection against coastal and offshore security. It again secures our exclusive economic zone and maintains good order at sea. Last comes the benign role. Even though it is benign, there is no role of violence in it. So morely towards a humanitarian basis, giving a humanitarian assistance in disaster relief missions, search and rescue missions. Even we engage in community engagements, environmental protection, research and development aspects. So these are a few of the examples of humanitarian assistance and disaster relief aspects. Because since Indian Navy is the first crisis responder, because of the quick and rapid action, it is able to provide relief during times of war or any disasters, and it also helpful for any peacekeeping missions. Coming to innovation technology, which is the backbone of nation's development, Indian Navy has grown up to such an extent that it has a high cutting edge technology and innovation to stay ahead in the modern world, and it ultimately contributes our nation progress. So now we have been equipped with more than 250 warships, including nuclear submarines and aircraft carriers. These are all indigenized technologies of Indian Navy. And this is the recent concept, as I already mentioned, gender neutrality. So according to the recent introduction of the scheme Agnipath, we have started recruiting women candidates, which was not followed earlier. So Indian Navy has the first to start recruiting women candidates to enter the Navy, in the place of personnel below officer rank, in the place of sailors. So whatever sailors have been doing all these days, it will be replaced by women in Indian Navy. So they will be posted to ships, they will be posted in hospitals, anywhere. So again, Indianization of the designations, keeping gender neutrality and gender parity in mind, they have started Indianization of the designations also. And they have given plenty of opportunities for the women officers, starting from giving chances for ocean voyage or aircrew reconnaissance, maritime reconnaissance and surveillance missions. These are some of the achievements which Indian Navy gave the women officers a chance to exhibit themselves. So these are a team of 6 young women officers who went for a sailing alone, all alone, starting from Goa to Mauritius and then back, covering a distance of 5,000 nautical miles. It took 1 month to complete the journey, but this is the only sailing boat which has circumvented the entire globe and then come. And again, same, a team of 5 young women officers, they have carried a individual, all alone, aircrew, maritime reconnaissance and surveillance mission. These are some of the examples, but there are other 2 which I have not highlighted, but still we used to participate in Asian Games and we have won. So Indian Navy supports, not only Indian Navy, Indian Armed Forces support each and every personnel who are in the service to achieve their best. And there is a special system in Indian Armed Forces, and that too especially in the Navy, where there is a divisional system. This system has been created for the sailors. The sailors, not the officers, who are serving, subordinates, for their administration, for any problems which they face, for their altitudinal development, discipline, and welfare of the service personnel. So we have a divisional system through which the sailors can approach us and get it sorted off, because they can never go directly and meet their higher officials. So by this kind of system, it ensures high motivation and satisfaction among the subordinates. And it also, Indian Navy also takes care of the adventure activities for building up the camaraderie, for building up the team spirit, physical and mental fitness also takes care of it. And adventure activities is indeed an important facet of human resource development. It has given us plenty of opportunities, starting from trekking, cycling, rowing, river skating, and mountain Everest expeditions, bike rally, everything, paragliding and parachuting. So many opportunities are there for each and every individual. And these are the state-of-the-art facilities available in Indian Navy all over the country. And Indian Navy do take care of our kids, imparting special education to our kids, starting teaching them with the moral values and ethics from the early childhood. And there is a separate association which takes care of the family aspects also. It's NAVA, which is known as NAVA, Naval Welfare and Wellness Association, is an organization that works for the welfare of the Indian naval personnel as well as their families. And it can collaborate with reputed colleges for higher education and conduct regular community outreach programs, health awareness lectures, cultural events, and so on. So now coming into my topic, how I survived or how I am here in Indian Navy. So I come from a humble family background with no defense background. I completed my schooling, undergraduation, post-graduation from civil institutes, from government colleges, and I got commissioned in Indian Navy in March 2017. We all know the phrase that behind every successful man there is a woman, but behind me there are two men. One is my father and one is my husband, because the first part was taken care and the education was provided by my father. The second part, the career progression, was taken care by my husband. And this is a photo which I showed this is the first day which I went for giving my interview in Calcutta for getting entered into short service commission. And this picture, I got commissioned as Sergeant Lieutenant and got promoted to Sergeant Lieutenant Commander subsequently in another 1 year. And this is the procedure which we follow in Indian Navy, stripe betting, where the beer is poured into over the stripes in order to give us a gesture of good luck. And being in service, being in Indian Armed Forces, we are not only taken care of our specialization or grow in our only vertical specialization, they give us support for military training also. So in Navy, after joining Navy, I've done my grading in 2018 from Command Hospital, Air Force, Bangalore. Subsequently, I did my classification from Base Hospital, Delhi in 2022. Apart from this, I have undergone many military trainings, which I happily accepted also. Experience on board ships. Even though we face many difficulties being a women officer, we're still able to sustain. I am not posted on ships, but I had 1 or 2 days of experience on ships. It creates a responsibility, it creates a, it negates the privacy, we'll be able to mingle with other people. So there is a concept of gender neutrality, so that comes into mind. Again, leadership skills. I used to be a shy person, but after joining into Indian Navy, it has groomed me so much that I can stand in front of the open crowd and deliver a lecture. So, and thanks to my commanding officer to represent me in front of my team, my unit. Now I belong to INHS Navajivani in Ezimala, where there is a small hospital, 60-bedder hospital with 65 men and 20 officers, where I am standing in front of all to lead them before. And they even take care of rewards and motivate us in each and every circumstances. Coming to career progression, this depends not only on the promotion, administrative roles, awards and honor, but it is the responsibility of an individual or a person what motivation or what commitment they need to provide to the nation to build their organization per se. So I got posted in a smaller unit, where there was no facility available from off the hull side. So I went there, I started my setup from zero to right now. And these two photos in the below is the one which I'm operating. This was the first surgery I've done in that unit. where I am posted now. So my unit got my unit got commissioned in 2012. Since 2012, no surgeries have been done, and I was the first to start the cataract surgeries, followed by I'm doing still. So this I feel proud to express myself here. Indian Navy gave me the support, had trust in me to start an entire OT setup and to operate, given me the chance for everything. And even I have conducted many outreach programs. I have covered both Northeast as well as the extreme end of India, Campbell Bay. So I went to many medical camps. I did surgeries there also. So I feel proud to express this. Yes, I do face challenges, like working in remote locations, staying away from family for longer periods, dealing with emergencies. So being in Indian Navy, Indian Armed Forces, we are not directly involved in our specialization. So we will be left in places where we need to deal multi-speciality, multi-emergencies also. So I thank my institution for that, for building confidence to treat the medical emergencies. And there is mental challenge and taking quick decisions and even cultural adaptation. So despite all these challenges, I have learned, I have slowly grown up and inculcated the, resilient, how to be resilient, and inculcated the talent of being leadership, teamwork, crisis management, self-discipline, time management, physical fitness, of course, and dedication and patriotism. So this is how I'm standing here now. So I would like to showcase a small video on behalf of all Indian Naval Medical Officers.
अमर्त्य वीर पुत्र हो, दृढ़ प्रतिज्ञ सोच लो, प्रशस्य पुण्य पंथ है, बढ़े चलो, बढ़े चलो, बढ़े चलो।
सागर के देव को, वरुण को नमन। शम्भो वरुणः, शम्भो वरुणः। हरदम तैयार है, बिल्कुल तैयार है, हरदम तैयार है, बिल्कुल तैयार है, जी जान से तैयार है। इसीलिए तो हम लहरों के पहरेदार हैं। जय भारती, जय भारती। हम हैं नौसेना, हम हैं भारत के सारथी। जय भारती, जय भारती। हम हैं नौसेना, हम हैं भारत के सारथी। है उस मिट्टी के बने हुए जिस पर देश प्रेम का ठप्पा है, तभी गर्व से देखो बोल रहा सागर का चप्पा चप्पा है। दुश्मन के लिए हम वार हैं, हरदम तैयार है, बिल्कुल तैयार है, जी जान से तैयार है, तैयार है। इसीलिए तो हम लहरों के पहरेदार हैं। जय भारती, जय भारती। हम हैं नौसेना, हम हैं भारत के सारथी। जय भारती, जय भारती। हम हैं नौसेना, हम हैं भारत के वैसों का काम नहीं, ये शेर दिलों की टोली है। जहां अटल इरादे हैं और बुलंद वो बोली है, आत्मनिर्भर भारत का हम भी अटूट एक हिस्सा है। सच्चा सच्चा अभिमान है हम गौरव गाथा किस्सा है। अपनी कोशिश है जिद वाली, हम सीना आगे करते हैं, सीना आगे करते हैं। देश की नई उम्मीदों पर रक्षा वाला रंग भरते हैं, रंग भरते हैं, रंग भरते हैं। नए कल की नई हुंकार है, कदम तैयार है, बिल्कुल तैयार है, जी जान से तैयार है, तैयार है। इसीलिए तो हम लहरों के पहरेदार हैं। जय भारती, जय भारती। हम हैं नौसेना, हम हैं भारत के सारथी। जय भारती, भारती, जय भारती, भारती। हम हैं नौसेना, हम हैं भारत के सारथी, सारथी, सारथी। जय हिंद, जय हिंद,
So with this, I am completing my topic, and I would like to extend my thanks to my family also who supported me at all times. Both. Shanu Varana, Jai Hind.
Thank you, Dr. Usha, for this wonderful talk. We can only envy you for being able to serve the country through your blood, seriously. But yes, young guys, we as a civilians, we are not as fortunate as Dr. Usha to be of our country through shedding our blood. We can serve family in your society is also a way to being a patriot. And here today we come empowering women. That is true nationalism. Especially this talk is meant for young male guys who are with us in a leadership development program. And who is better person than Dr. Namrata Sharma, who is chairperson scientific committee, also embodies the concept of women empowerment. She will be delivering a talk on empowering women. That is true nationalism.
So thank you, Prashant. I think thank you for conceiving this. It's not coming. Thank you for conceiving this session, which is so very important. I'm sure next time we will have it at a bigger platform. And I'm going to be talking about empowering the women. And when I think of empowering the women in ophthalmology, it is a very small aim. You'll have to change. Change karna padega. So when you talk of just empowering the women in ophthalmology, it's a very small aim and a small game. And so I will be talking about bit of empowering in journal, but it is important to break the bias, and gender equality is important for today and also for a sustainable tomorrow. So the question is that, do you need it? And the answer is yes, you do need it. And if you look at the World Economic Forum, the gender gap is wide. The gender gap in this report mentions that female talent remains one of the most underutilized business resources, and without gender equality today, a sustainable future and an equal future remains beyond our reach. And when I looked at this data, some figures were really startling. If you look at the global gender gap score in 2021, it was 67.7%, remaining to be closed is 32%, and in 2020 we took a step backwards by 0.6%, which is attributed to decline in performance of large countries. And it will take, if you go by the trajectory, 135.6 years at this rate for the gender gap to close completely between men and women. So there are 4 key areas of gender gap: political participation, economic participation, educational attainment, health and survival. So maybe only in number 3 we might be closest as compared to men, because we are more educationally inclined, and in rest of the other three, we are not close to them. So if you look at political participation, the area of the maximum gender gap, 22% is closed till date globally, and women represent only 26% of 35,000 parliament seats, and just 22.6% of over 3,400 ministers worldwide. So in 81 countries, there's never been a woman head of the state, and at the current rate of progression, it will take 145 years to attain gender equality. It is not going to happen in our lifetime, or maybe in our generations to come lifetime at least. If you look at the economic participation and opportunity, it is the second largest area of gender gap, again, after political participation, which is 58%. And again, it is going to take several years to fill this gap. Now, if you see, there is an increased proportion of women among skilled professionals and wage equality, but as far as the leadership roles are concerned, they are not there. Of all the managerial positions, women only occupy only 22% as compared to men. We are, I must say, the best here, because the gender gap here has been closed globally by about 94%, and 95%, it will take only 14.2 years maybe in our life to complete this and to close this gap. As far as the health and survival is concerned, the time to close this gap is undefined, because this is very subjective and probably underreported. When COVID came, there was further broadening of the gap, because the men still continued to work, but the women could not because of the several other issues which were pending at home. And so there were school closures, limited availability of care service providers, increased amount of stress, job insecurity, etc. And this gap further widened. Now, if you look at the geographical distribution, you would see that South Asia and Middle East and North Africa, this gap is the widest, and that is why they are red as shown here. And again, the geographical distribution, if you see in the gender gap, South Asia, in terms of time to close the gender gap, in years is longest, almost 200 years. In India, if you see, we are only better than Bangladesh, and we are only better than Bangladesh and maybe Pakistan. Again, if you see the ranking of India as far as the gender gap is concerned, we are 140, way behind as compared to other countries. And there is, currently what happens is that the women are forced, especially for labor, there is a forced participation rate, which is much less for men as compared to women. And if you see, compare this with male and female by gender, the share of participation at work across India, it's not changed really much if you see from 2014 to 2021, and it's pretty much remained the same. Now, in professional and technical roles, again, I put it in the lower list, which is there. India is 29.2%, and like I said earlier, maybe the only countries in our own South Asia, Pakistan and Bangladesh are the ones which we are ahead of. In senior positions also, if you see, and this was a review article from where it has been picked up, it is only in 14.6% that women are there. If you look at the average income, it is much less for women as compared to average men. It is less by 20.7% of an average man. If you look at the political participation, I hope it increases after Modi's passed out that there is going to be increased reservation for women. But if you compare it with the in the years, in fact, if you compare it even during the government, when this government took over, there was a decline by 10%. Literacy rate, of course, the literacy rate, like I said, education is something where we are much ahead, and health and survival is something which cannot be gauged because it is too subjective. So the question which was asked earlier, that is there a gender gap? There is a gender gap which will take many years to close as far as the various norms nationally are concerned. Imagine a gender equal world, which is very difficult, a world which is free of bias, stereotypes, discrimination, diverse, equitable, and is inclusive. And together we can forge women's equality and we can break the bias, but whatever small steps we take now, the results are going to take a long time to happen. The government has taken some schemes, some actions politically as well as in education. And generation equality in the Asia and the Pacific region has also been something which is propagated by United Nations, which says orange the world and end violence against women, etc. And there are several things which are there which need to be looked at. Now, if you look at the women leaders, women in police forces have been here, and we've heard a wonderful presentation just before this. And Kiran Bedi was the first woman in India to join the officer rank and was awarded the Raman Magsaysay Award. In finance, we have again a lot of women like Rachna Fatke Ranade in the chartered accountant, and women entrepreneurs are there who have now come up. Just to show pictures of the few who are very much there. In sports, of course, they have excelled, and we have so many of them in various sports, in Olympics, in cricket, as well as in tennis, who have won several of the major titles. This is just to highlight the fact that India's first female doctor who made Calcutta Medical College start admitting women was Dr. Kadambini Ganguly, a symbol of women's liberation. And Dr. Anandi Bai Joshi was the first female Indian physician and first Indian woman to have gained a degree in Western medicine. We have women, Madame Curie, who was the first woman to receive 2 Nobel Prizes. And then we have women leaders also on the political front, though the number is less, but I'm sure and I completely believe they have made a huge impact. As far as ophthalmology is concerned and leadership roles in ophthalmology is concerned, I think it is very important for us to analyze ourselves whether we desire to be in a leadership role or not, whether we want to contribute or not, and whether we have the time to do it or not. More often than not, what happens is that there is self-hesitation and you don't want to get into it. So if you don't want to get into it and you are happy about it, it is completely okay. There's nothing wrong with it. But if there is a desire to contribute, you have to find time to do it. Now, it is important to know that true leadership cannot be appointed or assigned, and sometimes, in fact, I feel all the times, titles are meaningless. Leadership has to be earned, and titles only help you to increase your influence a little bit, but or to undermine it, but power is in the person and not in the chair, and what you really want to do, you can do even without being on the chair. I think the law of picture is important, and I always put this picture because it was after this picture, which was an event in Narayan Netralaya, that I did think of getting into a leadership role, because when you contribute into academics and you contribute into science, then you want to make a difference to the society and you want to give it back. So you have to set an example yourself first for people to follow you. It is very important to identify role models, and my role model is sitting right here, Dr. Lalit Verma, in ophthalmology, in leadership, in ophthalmology, and in organization, and several other things that I have learned from him right from day one when I entered his OPD in room number 41 in RP Center. And thank you, sir, for always being there. Till today, when I am doing my first conference as chairperson scientific committee. Then you have to have mentors, you have to emulate somebody, and then you have to be a part of the networking groups. Law of connection is very important because communication is the way to success. Communication is the key to success. So connectivity is important, communication is important. And I think once you have power, it is important to empower others, because only when you make others win, you shed your insecurity, you can bring about a change. And I think that voice comes from everybody's conscience after you reach a particular level, when you want to empower others and give it to others. Women Ophthalmic Society in India was started a few years back, and Dr. Mohita Sharma started it, and at that time people felt it was not required. Even I felt it was not required. And I think the ideology behind this was that not all women are going to be given opportunities, which some have. So this was created to give opportunities to people, and it has served well in its purpose, whether it is research or it is academics, it is podium or it is networking, or networking at all levels, whether it is advocacy or it is trade. And then this has now grown into Women Ophthalmology Worldwide, which has chapters from all over the world, not only from the country. There are 14 state chapters in India already, and now this is encompassed from all over the world. And I think that is the way to go, and that is the way to do it. important thing is to buy in, because people buy into the leader first and then the vision. And this I've just put in because through this agenda I entered All India Ophthalmological Society, and so it is important to put forth what you are going to envision. And to conclude, I would just like to conclude by what Dr. APJ Kalam said, that empowering women is a prerequisite for creating a good nation. When women are empowered, society with stability is assured. And empowerment is something which is essential, as their value system leads to the development of a good family, society, and ultimately a good nation. So all the women out there, please move out of your families, out of your profession, to empower others and to make a difference. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Very well said, ma'am. You really inspired the young ladies over there, seated there. I'm sure you are a role model to many of them. Because of want of time, I will just request Dr. Vanati to come forward. Research is the only part where we are very good in jugards, but putting those jugards into actual papers and translating it into real researches somehow in our country is not that adequately seen. So let us hear from Dr. Vanati, Research the Way to Serve Your Country. She is the editor of IJO, and so she can put a light on this particular thing, how you can be a patriot by doing research for your country and contributing to the development of nation. Please.
Thank you, Dr. Prashant, for having me in this, I think, a very different kind of a session here. Thank you, Dr. Lal. And I think taking the podium after a dynamic speaker like Dr. Namrita itself is very challenging. But, pardon me if I would like to say, research is not jugaad. Research is hardcore scientific evidence, and you have to present whatever scientific evidence you have gathered in your work to the scientific audience here. So I think the first thing we need to do is change the way we think about research. It's not boring, but it is some fact which is based on which you're going to make your clinical decisions. If you are going to adopt a particular new procedure for somebody in your family, your kith or kin, you would go back to the literature and see what are the results of this particular procedure. Should I do this one or should I go to the conventional one? So that is where what is published in literature needs to be credible, and we ourselves know when we read particular papers of particular authors, we give them so much importance that we would blindly follow what they have advocated. But we would not do the same for some X, Y, Z, because we probably have a little doubt in the credibility of data they are publishing. So that's how we are going to represent our own. It's not just the country. It's like starting from home. It starts from the place you work, from the institute you represent, and by and large you're representing yourself and your credibility when you're publishing your research to the world to see it and judge it on how credible it's going to be there. So I think we should take immense pride that we stand there in any particular podium, be it national or international, and are representing faces of the country, representing faces of the quality of research which is being done in India, and see we are no less than anybody else who is in probably any of the developed nations, and we have the numbers. So I think we are more powerful than any of them are, and it's just the way we are going to represent and present ourselves which is going to make a huge impact and which is going to influence the way we can represent our country in the particular field of research we are doing in. So never underestimate yourself. That's something which I would always say. But then also do not overestimate yourself. Know your true value. Know your lacunae. Know the potentials of your particular work or your particular ability, and know where you would want or where you can work towards enhancing yourself. So those are going to be really important factors in how you're going to contribute, of how you use yourself and your work to represent the nation, to represent the place you're working in, and to represent your own personality and your own credibility. So that's how I would look at it. And this is a very simple dictum which I always follow. Whatever is worth doing is worth doing well. However small, however big, however intermediate, please remember it's something as simple, which I would follow for a very simple analog. If you're folding your handkerchief, the way you fold it is going to tell about what is the kind of person you're really going to be. It applies to every small little thing you do. So whatever you do it so perfectly here, and that's how you can build from one on top of the other and really take it to another level to represent something. If you walk into a particular mall, you're going to walk into a place in which things are more attractive, are more well laid out, which is more which has a better decor. So research it that way. If you have to package your work to the audience, it has to be packaged well enough, and you will have to learn how to do it. So when a research is well done, the packaging is not difficult at all. It's much easier to do. So that's one way of looking. Simple points, I think, just to wrap up. Just to look at what could be the key features here when you're planning. Research does not come retrospectively. Retrospective research is there, but has its own pros and cons here, where you could probably not akin it to a randomized control trial or to a prospective research here. So your planning of your research needs to be robust here. So that's point one here. Point two is you have to raise your level of research so that you can present your research in international podiums here. So there, your presence in international presentations is what's going to make you noticeable here. And that's going to give you an opportunity to represent your country in a big ocean here. And that's the beginning. So there's no self-hesitation. Do good work and be bold enough to go and stand there on the podium and tell the world that your work is as good as anybody else has done it. So that's point two here. Point three is increasing the visibility by the credibility of the work you're doing. So if you're going to say, for example, if I'm going to just say I've done 1,000 flags and I'm presenting to you data on 1,000 flags, that's something the world is doing. But what you're presenting out of the 1,000 flags, what is the data which is going to be credible and add on new information to your audience and to your scientific community, is what's going to raise the levels of credibility of your work here. Again, when you're working, inculcate within yourself and your colleagues the habit of doing good research and following publication ethics. There are, and I think first you have to become knowledgeable of what we mean by publication ethics, what are the common publication misconducts, what does a good research procedure mean, and that's when you would start working from there, and that helps you to produce research which could be of international quality and which you're not scared of presenting in front of any podium or in front of any audience, be it national or international here. For those who are not very strong in doing clinical research or basic researches or translational research, then you can work on your surgical presentations here. There are multiple podiums where you could present your surgical expertise here. There are forums which have film festivals where you have videos, and you could probably represent your work there, and that will really also give you good visibility to the quality of surgical work which is being done in India here. Again, seek and also train yourself in optimal research guidance here. So in order to be able to guide my thesis students or my fellows here, it is imperative for the teacher himself or herself to be well trained enough so that you're able to create the next gen who are probably going to be as good or better than you. So that's what is very important, and I as a teacher always take pride in the fact that if my student is doing better than me, then I score Oscar in what I have undertaken to do. So that's important, that you learn good optimal research guidance, you inculcate that, and you make your juniors who will become better teachers in wherever places or colleges or institutes they're going to be joining, and will be taking care of the next generation of research work in India here. Again, quality publications. It's not important about the number of publications you have, but the quality of your publications, the cite factors of your publications, and the strength of your publication, what the scientific data it gives out to the world here. avoid publication misconducts, which is already related to what I showed you here. And you can also, depending on your work and the visibility and the quality of reviews you do, you would be invited to be reviewers across several journals in the country. That's one way you're probably representing the country by reviewing research work done by others as well. And that's a very important way of how you could probably further your nation and serve your nation as becoming in the field of research and contribute to research of India here. Thank you so much for your patient hearing, and thank you again for the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, Dr. Vanati, for enlightening the importance of doing research and how it can contribute to being a true Indian. So with this, we come to the end of this opportunity to thank Chairperson Dr. Harvansh Lal sir, Co-Chairperson Dr. Chitra Ramamurthy, my moderator Dr. Santosh Shona, co-moderator Dr. Santosh Shona, and my team of panelists, and all the speakers, including Dr. Lalit Verma sir, Commodore Usha ma'am. In fact, my sincere most thanks to Commodore Mukherjee sir as well as Usha ma'am for agreeing to be a part of this particular wonderful session, and all the speakers for enlightening our young leaders, future leaders, about the and how one should contribute to be a true Indian. Thank
Hello, the candidates, please come forwards. Dr. Ashok, come on.